feel them getting cold already.
Perfect.
If you're new here, welcome to the AutoLust YouTube channel. If you're already an AutoLust family member, thank you. And what's swinging, gang? Today is the day you guys have been waiting for. The turbos are back. I'm getting the inner chiller system, the custom split inner chiller system filled up, topped off, air bled out, and then we're gonna see exactly what this thing does.
Well, at least I thought so.
Gang, we here at the most powerful in Brevard County, which is Boosted BIMMERS. And you see Sasha right here. I mean, we got some heavy hitters out here. Kenny, I see you. Kenny, man, this joker, this little X3 an animal. Uh-oh. You guys probably haven't seen this car for a long time on the channel, but as you can see, the hood is halfway popped, so you already know what time it is. But back to Sasha. As you can see, Sasha is not at the house anymore. And of course, she didn't get towed up here. She drove 30 minutes on the highway, no inner chiller, no intercoolers, no anything, just whatever the turbo builds right into the engine. And she came here at 122 degrees IATs. That's a testament to how efficient my turbos are. Crazy. But that's what we're here for, gang. We getting ready to fill the inner chiller system up. Boom. 50-50. I went with the orange stuff, so I know if I do ever have a leak, I know if it's the inner chiller system or the engine coolant. So, and that's what Kurt recommends from FI Inner Chillers, also the GM brand. So, as you can see, I have the entire tank plumbed up all the way.
Hose routing, placement, and hose protection or lack thereof is only for testing purposes only.
Routed around. I have the 400 and the 100 pump. As my modified turbos, I'm not gonna tell you guys exactly what I did to the turbos because like I say, it's all proprietary, and you know I can't have nobody beating me to my own stuff. So but they do look good, you know. I also upgraded to a aluminum the boost reservoir for vacuum with the extra the vacuum reservoir. I got rid of the plastic one. This didn't fit my car. I had to modify it a little bit, but now it fits. You know, and that looks good, you know, because I don't want any plastic or rubber in this car at all. Like right now, 99% of everything in this car is some type of steel, aluminum, or silicone. And whatever isn't silicone is going to be silicone once the engine comes out. But man, the turbos look good, and that's about all I'm going to show you with the turbos. Okay, now back to the exhaust. If you didn't see the video when I had the exhaust built, this car has full 3.5-inch exhaust from the downpipes back. I mean, from the back of the turbo all the way back. You know, 3.5-inch, not 3-inch. This is the world's first, guys. 3.5-inch dual exhaust, you know. And I completely wrapped the exhaust, you know, in header wrap, and I painted it with the high temp silicone coating from DEI, and you can see, you can't even see it. You know, you can barely make out the exhaust tips coming down under the car. If you don't know, these chrome tips are fake. They're not real. They don't go to anything. They're just dummy tips, and those are the real exhaust tips there. And that's also a massive transmission cooler on the back of the where the muffler used to be. So I'm gonna let you guys hear exactly what this exhaust sounds like with the exhaust wrapped, because you heard what it sounds like without the exhaust wrapping, on it. Now that it's wrapped, I mean, it sounds crazy. The system is fully charged. I can feel the lines getting cold already. This water right here is from the rain. That's not coolant. Oh yeah. I can feel them getting cold already. So I'm finna it's gonna take a couple minutes for the chiller, you know, for the fluid. I mean, this is a 3-gallon system, for the chiller to, you know, loop enough times, you know, both systems to loop enough times to cool it down. But I'm gonna show you the results after it loops a couple times.
The next day.
So it's actually the next day and things didn't go as planned. The inner chiller works perfectly. I mean, even the problem I had that I'm gonna show you guys, temps were dropping dramatically, you know, and I mean, pretty much, you know, I took it on a test drive to let the fluid loop to get super cold. I mean, it was dropping low and low and low and low and low. I mean, it was getting around like 70 degrees, you know, it stopped at like 78 degrees. And I'm like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, you know, I stop at a stoplight and I see a bunch of white smoke coming from both sides of the car. So I'm like, okay, the same, when I had my downpipes wrapped, that same white smoke was on both sides of the car. And I remember I just wrapped the entire exhaust in its entirety, and also silicone high temp coated it from DEI. So I'm like, maybe that stuff is burning off, but I'm like, okay, that's a lot of white smoke to be burning off any wax inside of the, you know, titanium heat wrap. So once I made it home, this is what I found. So pretty much what I have going on is I have this tank here that's used as a fill tank to fill my main tank. So when I put the fender back on, you know, I never have to go in there to, you know, mess with anything, because I can fill the tank from this port here. So what's happening is I got rid of most of the plastic in the car and switched it with silicone. As you can see, it's almost no plastic or rubber on this entire car besides the turbo feed lines, which I will switch over to silicone once the engine comes out for the new forged parts.
but for some reason the push lock doesn't like this silicone, and I made sure to go with a thicker OD so it locks in. And as you can see, when you lock it in, it's tight, but once the coolant starts running through it, you know, coolant is a very slippery material, obviously, from the glycol. And when it gets real slippery, I mean, this silicone turns into, you know, pretty much butter in a hot pan, not melting wise, but slippery wise, and it pops right out. So I'm gonna actually, instead of switching these lines back to something else, I bought the correct diameter aluminum tubing, and I'll just cut it into like a small little adapter, slide it in here, and then lock that in, and that'll stop them from, you know, sliding in and out, and that'll make it also you know, air whatever tight, you know, air and liquid tight, you know. And if this aluminum sleeving don't work, I'll just buy the original 8mm nylon blacks tubing that came with the car, which I think the aluminum will bite a lot harder than the nylon anyway, so the aluminum should work. So that was where all of the white smoke was coming from when these, you know, two lines popped out. I was thinking the engine was torquing and pulling them out, but it was actually these lines popping out and all the coolant dropping straight down and then blowing back on the passenger side exhaust, you know. And it was like super wet down there, so I want to power wash the bottom of the chassis. I'm going to deep clean the engine bay when the engine comes out anyways, but that's where all the white smoke was coming from. So that's pretty much what it is. I mean, the car is up and running. You know, I wanted to give you guys some, you know, some good run shots, you know, more testing with the inner chiller and some other things I wanted to do. But like, I mean, the system it's about half full now. That's how much fluid spit out of there. And if you're wondering why the coolant is orange, it's recommended for FI inner chillers to use AC Delco, you know, fluid, you know, the 50/50. And for me, it's good to use the orange fluid, because then I know the difference between the engine coolant and the inner chiller coolant. So if I see it on the ground, I know exactly what's leaking. It's not just blue coolant everywhere and I gotta, you know, spend extra time doing diagnosis. So yeah, but I'm gonna get this fixed and then get her back up. So like, share, subscribe, and Auto Lust out.